Hey, looks like I need to change my tripod here. So let me just move it a little bit better. And we'll get started. How are you guys doing? Looks like Linda's on here. Awesome. All right, we're going to be featuring a bundle tonight that you can earn for free by purchasing the starter kit. So we'll let a few people get on board here. Let us know where you're watching from. Yes, happy fall. It finally feels like fall today. Got rid of that humidity and it's so nice. All right, so again, we're going to be featuring the bundle, which is called Nature's Harvest, and it's a great time of the year, I'm sure everywhere, where you'll be seeing lots of wildflowers, especially the coneflower echinacea. So we're going to be using this cork specialty paper as well. So both of these cards were in my September card club. I had extra kits. So I thought I would bring them on. I know a lot of you that watch me Friday night also belong to my card club. So here's another video for you guys, but it's live so you can see. Maybe I'll make a mistake. Who knows? All right, so I recognize everybody's names. I don't know you in person except for Pam Jeleno. So, all right, welcome. So let's just go over a few things. This is September 24th, Friday, and we have less than a week to take advantage of Celebration. So with Celebration, your order of $50 will get you some free product from the Celebration brochure, and if you bump it up to 100, you can either get a level 2 level 1s or 1 level 2. So always take advantage during Celebration. You can get some free paper. Let me just show you what I just got. So with all my customer orders, let me just move these really pretty cards out of the way. I combined, I think 4 classes: Card Club, my Halloween class, my in-person class, and I think that was it. 3 classes into one. So that got me all of this amazing paper that's free. Look at it all, you guys. I didn't even count. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5. This is really pretty. It's black and white, but you can color it. It's beautifully penned. So 5 of those. And then I got 1, 2, 3, 4 of the penguins. And this is called Penguin Playmates. Oh my gosh, I just hit the camera, sorry. I'm going to be offering a Parks and Rec class with penguins. And it's a kids class, so I'm going to be using this paper for my kids class. So I'm stockpiling it, hoping for a really large class. And if I get a really large class, I'm hoping that some of my teammates that live in the area will help me out. And then I got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 packs of the Peaceful Prints. Now, if I ever get my butt in gear, I'm supposed to be offering a retreat, and it's going to be a wicked short window to take advantage of it. So I'm hoping to get through all my card designs this weekend. So this is going to be one of the prints we're going to be using in paper for my retreat. So stay tuned for that. If you're not on my email list, you should be. And that way you can get the information for my retreat. All right, so let me put that all on the floor. All right, so my host code for September, if you remember, is this one right here. Now, who can remember these codes, right? It's RDF627DJ. So a $40 order in product will get you a free bottle of the multi-purpose liquid glue. I'll probably use that tonight. I kind of switch back and forth from liquid glue to seal. So that is this. If your order is over $150 or more, don't use that host code so you can get Stampin' Rewards. Plus, with a $50 order, you can get 1 free celebration, and a $150 order, you can get 3 level 1s, or you can get 1 level 1 and 1 level 2. So make sure you're always taking advantage of celebration. And then speaking of celebration, you can add a free bundle to your starter kit when you join Stampin' Up! During celebration. So this is the bundle we're going to be using tonight. I wanted to feature this one because it's kind of in season right now. And I'm not ready to make Christmas cards quite yet, but I will be. So this is found on page 71. Let me just bring you in the catalog here. So this is the mini catalog. It's on page 56. It's just one kind of page here that showcases this stamp set. So in here it's a bundle, regularly priced at $53 at the bundle price. So you can get this for free by joining Stampin' Up. So if you want to learn more about that, you can head to my website, inspiredbygraham.com. Hit the Join Now button, and it'll bring you to another menu, which kind of talks about joining and also what I have to offer to all my team members. All my team members do get all my PDFs for free. And we do lots of challenges and also lots of fun stuff. So anyway, that is that. And I think that's all I've got for you guys. I've got some new stamp sets in my stamp room, but I don't really, I want to focus on these cards and get my card club packed up tonight and tomorrow, and hopefully ship it tomorrow, but if not, it'll go out on Monday. So you guys that belong to my card club, it's shipping very soon. Okay, so this card here, we're going to make 2. So this one here was a card club, and then this one here was card club too. So my goal to kind of show you, if you don't know how to tear paper and make it kind of look rustic, I'm going to do that today on this card here. And also we're going to do it on this one here. As you can see, I kind of tore the sentiment label here. There's a piece of that lace trim here, the very vanilla, underneath that. So that's what we're going to make today. I don't know which one I want to start with because they're my 2 favorites out of September Card Club, but I think I'll go with this. I don't know. I've got to make them both, so we're going to go with this one, and then we'll go into the colored ones here with a coneflower and Clips of Coral and Bumblebee. So this one's fairly straightforward. I just used 1 ink color, and that's Early Espresso, as you can see here. We also will use the Wink of Stella here. I don't know if you can see it or not. You might be able to see it here. I'll show you how I colored these and kind of pulled the color Early Espresso into the petals here. Now I just went with brown because I wanted it to have not really a lot of color here. So you can see really the only color is the soft succulent color. Everything else is more vintagey, and I love this ribbon here. It's the lace trim, scallop lace trim. It's in the annual catalog, and the reason why I went with this one instead of, let me show you. I haven't opened it yet, but this is the one that's in the suite. It's called Diamond Weave Ribbon, and it's still in its packaging. I thought it was a little heavy and thick for cards, so I wanted to go with something a little bit more delicate. And so that's why I chose the scallop lace trim, and this is what it looks like. And I love it because it kind of reminds me of what my grandmother used to use in lots of her crafts. So that's what we're going to be using. And then also the brushed metallic adhesive back dots. They come in 3 different colors, gold, copper, and kind of a brushed, I think. I don't know. I don't even know 2 colors are. If you know, put it in the comments so we kind of know, but I know that's gold, copper, and then I don't know if that's bronze. It could be. Okay, so we're going to get started. On this card here, we use the Time Worn Type 3D embossing folder. And it's got lots of scripts on it. I mean, it's really hard to see here, but I have the panel already embossed. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. So let me grab my kit here, and we'll take all the pieces out. And let's see what we've got in here. This is how my kit comes to my card club members, except for the designer series paper. They need to cut that. I used to cut it way back, almost 2 years ago, when I only had like two or three members. But now that I have 22, it's a bit too much. So I asked people to cut their own, and it goes really well. I already tonight, right before I came on, I cut all the 12 by 12s in half, so those are all ready to go. So anyway, enough of that. I need to focus. So let's do some stamping first. So I've got my basic white. I've got my envelope, and another piece we need to stamp on is the designer series paper and this little tag here. So I just used the one ink color. So the browns kind of that kind of go with this paper. I think Early Espresso, Crumb Cake, and Sahara Sand. And I'll tell you why Sahara Sand goes. It's very close to Crumb Cake. Now, my card club members, you will know that I had to substitute Sahara Sand for Crumb Cake because Crumb Cake is on back order, and we know back orders are horrible right now. So I substituted with Sahara Sand, and it still looks really pretty. So that's one little surprise for you. It's only the second time it's ever happened where I had to substitute something else. Another time was for some ribbon. So anyway, we're going to work with Early Espresso on this card here. And let me find my stamp here. So this here is the flower, and I've got it mounted on an E-block. Since it's a really big block, I like to kind of go the ink pad to the stamp itself. Make sure when you do this that it gets all covered up with ink. And then this is the inside panel, so it's just a basic white. I'm going to stamp over in the corner here, and I'm stamping the stems off so that it's past the bottom of the paper, so it looks like it goes all the way to the edge. So that's the first one there. Then we need to stamp our envelope because our envelopes need to be pretty. You can add designer series paper to the flap, or you can stamp them as well. So we're just going to ink up that stamp one more time. And then we're going to stamp over in the corner. I'm going to stamp it a little bit lower than normal. So it doesn't go up in this area, and I can still add my address label here. Okay, now we're going to stamp on this piece here. This has got script on it. So you've got to be careful that it's going not upside down. So that's good. It's cut 3 by 4, and it's the Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper, so it goes with this bundle. Now let me just show you this card. I want to make sure I stamp it more to the left side because we're going to tear this piece on the right side. Okay, so again, we're going to ink up our flower stamp, and then we're going to turn it over, and then I'm going to stamp. So I'm looking at the left flower. I don't want it to go off the edge. I want that full leaf. So we're just going to stamp it right there. And I didn't stamp it down far enough, but that's okay. No worries. I might be able to hide that. Okay, so we have everything stamped. Let me just close up my ink pad here so we don't make a horrible mess. And now we're just going to assemble. So we've got our soft succulent, and this is cut 8.5 by 5.5. I've already pre-scored it at 4 1/4, easy. And then here is the Time Worn Type 3D embossing folder. You gotta make sure that it's, let me see, it's really hard to see right here. Okay, so what I do is I look at the word over here, it says "we know," and that's kind of how I tell it's the correct way. So I'm gonna flip it over, and for embossed panels, I do like to use the liquid glue. Again, the liquid glue is my host reward for the month of September. Always can use our liquid glue. And now we're going to just add that panel onto the soft succulent. Very easy. Anybody can do this part. All right, so wait a minute. So the sound does keep going in and out. Not sure why. I don't know why there's an echo. Are you guys still hearing the echo? The only thing I can think of is internet, and I'm so sorry about that. I'm going to turn off my ceiling fan. Maybe that's it. And out for me too. Well, I'm not sure what to do. I could log off and log back on, or you guys could do the same thing. I'm not really sure. I am going to try to do individual videos for these cards too, because I think they're really pretty. And of course, card club members, you'll get that for free as well. So I don't know. I guess I'll just keep going. And I apologize that for, I just don't know, kind of internet sometimes can get a little crazy. All right, so now I've got a piece of soft succulent, and it's cut 3.5 by 4. So very easy. What you're going to do is you're going to take your cork paper, and this piece is going to be straight, so we don't have to work with this one. But this one here, we're going to tear, so we make a kind of uneven, like, border. So I'm just ripping towards myself and kind of back and forth. Okay, so now we've got this nice little tear, and it's going to go on here. Okay, just like that. So when I adhere this onto the cork panel, I'm just going to add my liquid glue closer to the edge of this piece. You could sponge this, an ink color like the soft succulent would look nice. I tend not to do that. I just like it all natural. All right, so now we've got we've got 2 of those pieces together. The back side looks like this, and this is the front side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear, let me just see. Yeah, we're going to tear close to the stamped image as we can. Again, you don't want to go in the same kind of pattern, so you're kind of going to zigzag it. And I'm using my left thumb as kind of a guide. Okay. Now here is this piece. So now we've got all 3 pieces kind of looking good. I want some of that soft succulent coming off the edge so it shows right here. Okay, so let's add our adhesive here. Again, this step is best to use the liquid glue, just because you can move it around. See how I'm moving it around, up and down, left and right? Okay, so now we've got 3 layers on there, looking pretty good, and that's what the back side looks like. Hasn't really changed much. Now I'm going to prep this with the Stampin' Dimensionals. And for this large of a piece, I'll probably use 5. Even though when I put my Stampin' Dimensionals on, I bring them in about 1/2 inch. Because sometimes you can get away with not putting one on the middle, and we'll save our money that way. But I think with this panel, we'll add 5. Now let me grab my silicone craft sheet. You guys know I always use this. And then we're going to peel off those backings. Very easy. I'm going to flip this over, and I know that's not going to stick because it's a silicone craft sheet. Let's grab that scallop lace trim, really pretty. Now, if you don't want a bow, then what you can simply do is kind of just wrap it around like this, okay? And that looks fine as well. I'm going to create a bow, so just because I like it, and it's kind of easy to do. And I'm going to wrap this around the back side so I know it's flat, and we're going to flip it over. Then see how this can still move around. But a trick that I like to do is, instead of leaving it on the silicone craft sheet, I do like to put it on the card front. That way it's stuck and it's easier to tie your bow. So what I want to do is I want to center this onto the card front so that I have equal distance on the top and on the left side. I don't care about this down here because that's where our sentiment panel is going to go. So if I'm happy with it, I'm just going to give it a good press. Now, see how this moves like this? That's great because we can still move our ribbon around to where we want it. Now, one tip here is this cork paper is really, really thin and delicate, so you don't want to yank on it, okay? You want to be really gentle when you're creating your bow. So don't pull on it and make it tight because this is going to move up and it could rip. Very important. So I'm going to be as gentle as I can to create this bow, but if you wanted to do like a knot bow, that would work fine, or just simply laying it on front. Now this is way too much. I don't want to waste any of this really pretty scallop lace trim, so let me just downsize that a little bit. And then since I can move this bow, it doesn't matter where it lands because I can shift it. Okay. How do you like my new fingernails? I had to mention that because, you know, I'm a tomboy. So once in a while, I do treat myself. All right. I'm going to make this a small bow. Make sure it's not too overpowering and big. So that's delicate. All right, so let me grab my ribbon scissors here, and we're going to cut this off, and over here too. All right, follow me so far, right? So far so good. Now we can put that panel on the inside here. That's super easy. All right, it's just going to go just like that. And then we'll add this right to the inside. Now I need to stamp this panel here. Again, I'm going to use Early Espresso ink, and then the sentiment says, a reminder to never forget how much you mean to me and so many others. So that's really fun. And then this could be a little bit hard because I don't think I have my label on exactly straight. So we'll see if I can get it to stamp pretty good. That's awesome. I don't have to re-stamp it, and I did have a few extra tags over on this side that you guys can't see, just in case I kind of made a mess. So now here's this label. Now, do you remember I didn't stamp it all the way to the edge, but no worries, right? Because we can bake it. We can add this sentiment label over the top, and no one would ever know except for us. So what I want to do is I want to put regular adhesive here, but I want to put some Stampin' Dimensionals on the bottom. And you can use the regular ones. So I'm just going to add 2. You can see this is a scrap from way back when I used to live in Fairfax. Can you tell? That's my old McNall like address label. I've had this for a long time, at least 5 years. Okay, so I'm gonna add the multi-purpose liquid glue right there. And now this is gonna get stuck to the panel we just added and then also onto the embossed paper as well. Isn't that really pretty? Now we're gonna add some of those brushed metallic adhesive backed dots. It's a lot to say. Now this one here, I think that's the copper kind. And then, let me see, I did have another card. Yeah, way over here. This one, I added the gold ones. So we can add, I think it's brushed metallic, or I don't know what that color is. It's something. If you know, let us know. Okay, so I'm going to take this color over here, and we're just going to add 3. So I'm going to add 1 there, and these are 2 different sizes. So let's see. I kind of want something down in this white area here. So I think I'm going to add a little one there, and then I'll add another big one. Maybe, I don't want to go up too high. Yeah, right between these 2 stems, because all the action for this card is kind of like from here down. So adding one up here might not look as good. We can try to do it though, if we want. We could add one over here. See, adding one over here, whoops, let me drop it down a little bit, really doesn't do that card justice. You want to see all that cork. So, and we don't want to add it here because then we've got one going straight across, which is not pleasing to the eye. So we're just going to sneak one in right here and call it good. Now we can add some Wink of Stella to this card still, or you can leave it just like this. So to do that, I'm going to show you, and I know I'm kind of probably far away, but I'll bring it up to the camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking the Wink of Stella and I'm kind of brushing on the petals here. And let me just pour some in that little barrel there. I'm going to use it on this seed part here. And that just turned that top of that flower a little bit darker. So this is wet and it's mixing in with the ink, which when you add the kind of liquid to the ink, it's going to brush it down into the petals there. Wherever I'm touching, it's taking that ink and pushing it down. So I'm going to do this again on this little one here. And then we'll add some on this one here. And I'm just kind of doing a light touch. I'm not really pressing down too hard. But it is, either way, looks really nice. Okay, so that is that. Now we got to remember, we got to make it all look good, so and all the same. So let's bring in our envelope and quickly add this one too. You might be able to see this better on the basic white envelope than you could on the Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper. And I'll bring these up to the camera so you can compare them in just a minute. It's definitely a lot more brown. You can do this with any color. It doesn't have to be early espresso. You could also do the stems as well, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do the focal point, which are the petals here. And then, of course, we want to continue that theme all the way to the inside. More of that Wink of Stella down. It just came out wicked fast, which we don't like to happen. So let me just grab my dirty rag here and hopefully I can get it. Push it over here. And then we'll add a little bit there. I think I just got way too much in the barrel. I don't know if that's ever happened to you guys, but it's really hard to fix it once that happens. Because there's a big glob there and now it's kind of running over there. I'll probably re-stamp this one because these cards I'm going to give away. So I want you guys to get some really nice cards. So we'll redo that one off camera later tonight. So let me just kind of show you. So you can kind of see how, hopefully you can kind of see how it's a little bit more brown on the basic white than on the Harvest Meadow Designer Series paper, because it's just got that coloring on the petals. So it's just a little bit different look. So that's our first card for tonight. And let's just open it up there. You could use your Stampin' Blends as well. I did create one of these cards with Stampin' Blends, and I colored in, I don't know if I have it or not. I do, hold on. So for this card here, I use Stampin' Blends, and you can kind of see the difference now. I use Calypso Coral, Dark and Light, and I use Crumb Cake and Soft Succulent. So Soft Succulent is the same color as this green here, and of course the card base. So I kind of colored them in so you can kind of see the difference. But I wanted a more natural look, so I went with not coloring it in. So just to give you an idea of what you can do with either some markers or your watercolor pencils, you can kind of change things up. So that's card number 1. And we're going to switch over to card number 2. And let me just clear up my area here. Card number 2 is this one here. So it's got lots of die cuts in it. It's got 3 die cuts. And this here is a label, a scrap of Soft Succulent, and we'll tear that one as well. So let me just get all this together and we'll shift on. Hopefully I've got everything I need. I've got the kit over here. All right, so lots of different pieces here. So my thought with this card was you don't need the stamp set to make this look. So let me just show you. This is the die cut, and it's got some little detailed striping on the flower here where the petals are. I used sponge daubers like this on here. So we're gonna do that, and I also did the same technique on here. So I think that's what we're gonna do first. We're gonna sponge these elements, and then we'll do a little bit of stamping. Okay, I'm gonna grab some scrap paper because I think any kind of ink on my grid paper is a little distracting for anybody. So let me just protect my work surface here. And I'm gonna just use sponge daubers here. You can use sponges too, that will work, or the blending brushes too. So I've got 2 different ink colors. I've got Calypso Coral, and I'm using Crushed Curry. One, because I don't have Bumblebee ink. Bumblebee is an ink color, and I think it's really close to Crushed Curry, so I did not buy the ink colors last year, but I did buy this year's ink colors. They're so beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to just take my sponge dauber here. I'm going to work with this one first. Let me just get this one out of the way. So when you are blending this, you want, of course, the detailed side facing you. And you want to be really careful because this is a really thin stem. So you're just going to go real careful. So I'm just going to ink this sponge dauber up, and then you can kind of see it's pretty dark. So we want to make sure some of this is off. And then I'm just going to brush, basically, color in the paper. And then I'm kind of pushing a little bit harder where those detailed pieces are. And then I'm going to go down this stem really careful. It's kind of a light touch. And then there's another little detailed image right here on that stem. And then I'm I'm just going to give this a little bit more color in this area. And I'm going to set this aside to let it dry. And we're going to switch over to crushed curry. Again, we're going to do the same thing. Now this one doesn't have any like embossed images on it. It's just straight cardstock. So I wanted this to be a little bit darker, so I just kind of brushed the crushed curry ink on it. Now you can do lighter or darker tones, whatever works. You can tap as well. It doesn't have to be perfect because a lot of it down here is going to get covered up, but it's best just to sponge the whole thing. Okay, we'll add some Wicked Stella on these at the end as well. Okay, so we got that done. I'm going to close these up because we're all done with these two colors. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp on this soft succulent scrap. It's just all it is a scrap. And I'm going to use Early Espresso ink again. And the sentiment I am using says, sending healing thoughts, may nature's beauty bring peace to your soul. So this has got really fine fonts and small sizes of lettering. So just make sure your ink pad is not super juicy when you stamp it, because you can get a lot, see like that S there is kind of like got a little too much ink on it, but you're probably never going to get a perfect stamped sentiment, but this is actually pretty good. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to stamp an envelope. I didn't stamp that other envelope, did I? All right, and I'd like to stamp my envelopes with the same sentiment that's on the card. We don't want to send a naked envelope, so we'll have always add our stamp, something stamped on it, or your designer series paper on the flap, or both, really, whatever works. Okay, we're using soft succulent card base again. This is different. It's 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. So a different fold. And then we have Evening Evergreen panel, which is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. Then we have the Harvest Meadow designer series paper, and it's cut 3 3/4 by 5. So super easy. Love this print. And that's the back side of it. So just a really small borders all we're going to have. And then we're going to add this all the way to the corners and edges. And we'll just add this right on. Go really slow so you can get it on there. So it's just a really tiny border. And then this one here is not, you can put Stampin' Dimensionals on it, but I didn't. I just gonna have it lay right flat onto the soft succulent panel. And then, oh shoot, I know what I forgot to do. Hold on, let's see if I can do this. Forgot to add the lace trim. Yep, I can. And I have my silicone craft sheet, so that's good. I forgot the cork paper. So let me grab it. Okay, the cork paper is going to go on here. So see how that looks really vintagey? This is just a scrap. This piece here was cut 1 1/2 by 3 7/8. But I had a small scrap and I'm not going to waste it. So we're going to use it on this card tonight. And I'm going to use the liquid glue. And then we're going to add this about almost halfway up, but not quite. And it's edge to edge with the Evening Evergreen. Then we're going to add the lace trim. Let's see, where did it go? It's kind of right in front of me. Here I go. It's that like evening. Oh, there it is. Found it. Okay. So we've got the lace and it's going to go underneath here, and I'm just going to cut this off about 1 inch over the edge. Now this is where I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal. I'm going to add little pieces, markings about 1/2 inch, not even 1/4 inch maybe, underneath there. And then I'm going to lay this right under here so the top of the lace is right on the edge of the cork. Then we'll press it down. And then we're going to turn this over, and let me grab some tape. You could use adhesive, but I actually prefer Scotch tape. I'm just going to tape this down here so it's really secure. Now, flip this over. You can kind of see that makes a nice little accent there. Now I'm going to re-add all that liquid glue. And we'll bring in that card base one more time. And we're going to reattach this. Now, we're going to take the die cuts. So we have 3. Again, this is kind of this like little sprig, I guess. I don't know. And it's okay if it's going to go down. I'm going to probably trim this off. Once I get everything on there, I can put my paper snips in there and make it work. So this one here gets popped up. So let me just bring in the bumblebee one here. We just kind of play with this right now. So I know I want to angle this off over towards the left. And this one is going to get angled over this way. And then this one would get popped up. Okay, and then let's take our sentiment here. I'm going to rip this so I kind of know what size label I'm using. So again, I'm just ripping towards me. I'm using this, my left thumb, as a guide. And we kind of want to get different patterns, like do some zigzagging. Don't go all the way straight across. Let's give it some character. And then we'll just kind of come around and meet on the other side. So if you don't like it and you want to tear some more off, then you can go ahead and do that. So now this is going to get put on here. So now you can kind of see those stems are a little bit too long. So what you can do is you can trim them down now, or I'm just going to trim them down later. So we're going to work with this one here first. And there is a rough side. So the rough side gets the glue. So let me just bring my silicone craft sheet back in. This is so much fun using this because it just protects your work surface. It's like one of the best things I've purchased with Stampin' Up! Is my silicone craft sheet. So I'm just going to use my liquid glue and just kind of move it around onto the little branches here. I'm not going to put glue down here because that's probably going to get trimmed. I'm going to probably trim most of that off. Okay, so now we can bring this one back in and we're going to angle it up to the left side. Okay, that looks good. Now we're going to take this piece here and we're going to add some glue to the back side. See how much control you have with liquid glue. Now this I'm not going to put it on there because it's probably going to get trimmed off. I'm going to match it up to this area here. And I want to make sure the designer series paper, you can kind of still see it. Okay. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this cone flower. We're going to put Stampin' Dimensionals on this one because this one needs to be lifted. It needs to have depth on it. So you can get away with one there. And then you can take some the mini Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool. And I'm going to add them to here. Now, if you get really fancy, you can add them right here. And I'm going to try to do that for you. So what I like to do is take my paper snips, and the edges of the dimensionals you can cut to whatever size you want. So it's about 1/8 of an inch strip, and I'm going to put it right on the center of the stem, and there you go. And I'm going to peel the backings off now. My backings here are black. And it's because the Stampin' Dimensionals landed in the Memento black ink pad one night. So they kind of got a little messy. All right, so I've got these off. This one right here I need to get off as well. There we go. So now here's the more focal point. This is where your eyes are going to be really catching, like your eyes are going to really look at this one, okay? So I'm going to put it, right about here. I want to angle it. I don't want it straight. And then we're going to angle it over here. Okay, now this here is popped up. So let's work with our sentiment label here. I'm going to actually tear this a little bit more because it's got too much cardstock over here. Now, this is already high, so you only need to put Stampin' Dimensionals on the edges. That way it will be equal height all the way across, because you've already got this to work with. Now, if you want, you could put a little bit of glue on the Clips of Coral one. Let's do that. Okay, now we're going to pop this on. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to trim this off right now, because I need to get this off so I can see that lace. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to bring it up to the camera once you can kind of see it. Okay, I'm pressing down here because that's where the dimensionals are. This is where the glue is. And see that lace trim? It's kind of peeking through. So we've got coordination going there, and we've got a vintage look with the torn sentiment label. And now the last thing we need to do is, let's see, we need to add our inside panel. So all I did was use some of that Designer Series paper, and it's 3/4 of an inch by 4. Really pretty. And I'll just add some of that liquid glue. And let's add this right on here. Flip it over. Wrong card. And we'll add this one here. Now let's flip it over, and we're going to add some of those brushed metallic adhesive backed dots. It's a lot to say, but they're fantastic. I'm going to use gold because they've got a lot of gold here. I'm going to add a bigger one right here. And then I've got another big one here. I'm going to add one. Let's add one right on that little flower right there. Whoops, I'm off camera. I'm so sorry. So I added one here, and then I added one actually right on that little flower there, and then we're going to add a little tiny one. Let's go down here onto this little flower. Sorry, I was off camera there. All right, so we can put them side by side. They're a little bit different. This one is probably still going to dry a little bit more and get a little lighter. But let's add some Wink of Stella here. And so what I did with the Wink of Stella, I went over the detailed part of the flower here, where those are. And then here, there's all these little dots that you can't see, I'm sure, but I can. And then here, I'm going to kind of do the same thing. I'm going to brush onto each of these. And on the stems too. Let's give it a little bit of glitter. And don't forget these little pieces down here. If you wanted to do the evening evergreen piece here, you can. I like the dark green on the soft succulent. It's my favorite combo. All right, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's really glittery. But if you win this card, you'll see it, right, in person. So I'm going to be giving away the set of cards. So this one here, and then the other one I made, which is on my other desk somewhere. Where did I put it? Over here. This one. And with, of course, the envelope. The envelope is around. So in order to win, I'm just going to do the same thing like I always do every week. If you would like to be in the entry for the cards, you can just email me and let me know. And then eventually I will draw a winner. It took me like 3 days after Monday to actually remember to do it. But just send me an email at inspiredbygraham@gmail.com if you would like to be in the drawing for these cards. It's all you need to do. Let me just see if there's any questions. I'm going to scroll through real quick. Hopefully that like cutting in and out went away. Let's see. Oh, my mic. I don't have a mic. It's just my phone. So I'm not really sure. Is it still cutting in and out right now? So it doesn't look like we have any other questions. So I think we're good to go. So again, if you want to win these cards, be in the drawing, just give me an email. And then don't forget about the host code for the month of September for the liquid glue, which is primarily the glue I use for tonight. And then 6 days left to add a free bundle of your choice from all of these. And this is the one I focused on for tonight. It's called the Nature's Harvest. It's very, very popular with card making today, especially right before, we're all in the harvest mode right now. So we all like to see those harvest flowers and kind of more naturistic cards right now. And the last day you can take advantage of the free bundle is September 30th. So you can join Stampin' Up! And join our Inspired Daisies team. We'd love to have you on board. So have a great weekend and thanks for watching me tonight and crafting. Take care.